Hey guys, I know it's been a while, but things have been a little busy lately because I have a kid and another one on the way, so things got a little out of hand. But I promise you, with regards to projection mapping, I have some new tricks up my sleeve and I can't wait to share it with you guys. And I'll be posting those videos real soon. But today we got something different. Since you guys are into outdoor decoration and also tech savvy, I thought this might be interesting to you. Today, I am installing a robot lawnmower in my yard and I thought I'll just share it with you in case you guys are interested. And let's see how it goes. And the fun part is most of the videos I've seen are usually sponsored and my YouTube channel is nowhere close to being as big for anyone to sponsor me. So you know what? My reviews are gonna be honest because no one's paying me to do any reviews yet. Okay? So let's see how this goes and you guys can tag along on this journey. And I'm well aware that it's hard to take me seriously with this hat, but you know what? It's July and it's hot out here and I had to steal my wife's hat. So this is all I've got right now. So here we go. Before we get started, let me give you a quick summary about the different lawnmowers. Let's go over a couple of key differences between the robot lawnmower and a regular lawnmower. Apart from the obvious one being autonomous, the key difference is their blades. These are what blades look like for the traditional lawnmower. They produce suction, they can not only cut grass, they can mulch grass, they can cut much longer grass, while this right here is what blades of a robot mower looks like. As you can see, it's kind of like razor blades attached to a disc, so quite a bit different. They don't create any suction, so ideally they're only meant to take off a little bit of the grassland, preventing it from going into shock and therefore being much healthier for the grass, and also they provide a much cleaner cut. But the obvious disadvantage is they can't cut through long grass, and if your grass grows too much out of control, you'll have to do it manually with a traditional mower. The other advantage to having blades like this, I feel they're far less lethal, especially to the kind of task we're doing here where the mower is running autonomously, which may or may not have any accidents. I prefer them to have blades like these which are far less lethal. Now that you have a fair bit of idea of what robot mowers are, let's go with the different types of mowers. They are primarily categorized based on their navigation techniques. First and foremost, let's start off with the most budget-friendly option, is the wire-based navigation. Basically, what you need to do is install a wire all around your yard, and when the robot senses this wire, it kind of knows it's the boundary and basically it bounces off. Somewhat similar to a Roomba, which basically bounces off the wall and heads another way. So these robots basically sense a wire and just change directions, and the objective is eventually they get the whole yard mowed. The obvious disadvantage to this kind of mowers is you have to physically install the wire, which may or may not be fun. The other disadvantage to this is you don't really get accurate control since they don't really mow in straight lines, or you may not be able to designate particular zones to mow since basically these are random, so you don't have much control over where they're moving. Also, generally these mowers aren't equipped with the best of sensors, so their object detection is not that great either. Next up, we have the camera-based navigation. Of course, with the addition of camera, you get far better object detection, which is safer. Apart from that, these camera-based mowers can also map the area and also know where they're going, so sometimes mow in straight lines as well. And one of the key examples of a good camera-based mower is a Eufy, which does a pretty good job, I would say. And the other important advantage is the camera-based mowers are fairly easy to set up. You don't have to worry about GPS or any sort of signal loss since the robot just uses camera that's already on board. It's fairly easy to set up. One of the key disadvantages is the camera-based robot does not really have GPS, so it does not know exact locations, may not mow in precise straight lines, and could also get lost if the visuals that it sees is different from what it originally mapped. Now next up, we have the most commonly used technology when it comes to robot mowers. It's the GPS-based mowers. Basically, these use GPS like you do on your phones with Google Maps and stuff. So they know the precise location of exactly where they are. With regards to GPS-based mowers, you'll hear the term called RTK base station, which is nothing but a GPS antenna. So this antenna is something you have to install in your yard, which is essential for the robot mower to know exactly where it is and for precise location mapping. This is critical because one of the key downsides of GPS-based mowers is the initial installation. If you have a wide open yard with a good view of the sky, the GPS will work good. But I have also seen scenarios where people have to mount this GPS up on the roof to get a good signal, and as you might imagine, it's not the easiest to install something on your roof. So that's why I would say installation is a little bit of a downside, but once you're past that, it does a great job. The mower knows its exact location every time. It can mow in efficient lines. You can map zones. So basically, once you're over the initial hump of installation, you get tons of feature with GPS-based navigation. A good example for GPS-based robot mowers would be the Luba series, the Limo, and also the one I got, the Genie 3000, is GPS-based. By the way, on GPS-based mowers, they tend to have a camera as well for object detection, so they do have the pros of the camera-based robots as well. Another technology that's near to the market is the LiDAR-based robots. LiDAR is a common technology on the indoor robot vacuums. With LiDAR, basically you're using lasers to sort of form a 3D map of an area. So therefore you have a much more accurate map. You also have much better depth perception, which also helps in terms of object detection. And the key advantage with LiDAR-based robot mowers is there's no GPS required and therefore no installation hassles either. So it sort of has the best of both worlds, both in terms of navigation, mapping, object detection. LiDAR is perfect. So basically, LiDAR mowers are one of the best that you can buy. The only disadvantage that I'd say is they're slightly pricey compared to the GPS-based ones. I'd recommend the EcoVax 3000, which is sort of a key player in the LiDAR technology, and as far as all the reviews that I've seen, the EcoVax does a great job. Finally, there are also robot mowers out there that are extremely expensive, and I would say they're in a category of their own. For example, the Yarbo. As you can see, it's built like a tank, extremely bulky, the installation is a big hassle, but the obvious advantage is the Yarbo has all the bells and whistles. Not only can it deal with grass, it can also deal with snow, blow leaves, etc. It is sort of a modular mower. It's also strong enough to tow your car if you need it. The obvious disadvantage is it's quite expensive. So how exactly would you select which one is applicable to your particular needs? Some of the key selection criteria would be the size of your yard, how steep is your yard, the complexity of navigation, and do you have a bunch of trees and buildings in your yard. So here's how it goes. If your yard is pretty small where installing wires is not a big deal, and also there's no complex navigation or crazy terrain to go through, I'd say the wire-based robot mowers would just do the job. They're most budget friendly, they're pretty straightforward, and will get the job done pretty reliable. Next up, if you have a lot of buildings and tree cover where you feel GPS may not be the right fit for you, that's where I would recommend the camera-based mowers like the Eufy would be ideal, because they don't need GPS and they can still do most of the mapping and navigation autonomously, which without you having to install wires. So they have sort of a midway best of both worlds, and I would say that would be the right fit for you. Of course, like I said, the most commonly used ones are the GPS-based mowers. If you don't have a bunch of trees and lots of tall buildings around you, GPS-based navigation is going to be the best. The installation is a bit of a hassle, but that's just a one-time thing. But once you're done with that, you'll get far more control, so that's why I would say GPS-based mowers are pretty good. I would say the LiDAR-based ones are the best in terms of navigation as well as object detection, so I would say if your budget allows it, the LiDAR-based ones are the way to go. That's the one that I would have bought too, but I personally felt it was a little bit more on the expensive side for me, and that's why I didn't choose that. Now, when it comes to yard complexity and steep grades, I would say the Luba series and the Limo are much better in terms of dealing with steep grade. The Luba series is a 4-wheel drive, and the Limo obviously has something like tank tires, so they can deal with complex terrain much easier. When it comes to the size of a yard, I would say go for something that's rated for at least twice the size of your yard. For reference, my yard is 5,000 square feet, so I would opt for a mower that's capable of mowing at least 10,000 square feet. Because the manufacturer rating is based on the mower being able to mow all day and sometimes even a couple of days, which is not ideal. So that's why I would not take the manufacturer rating as face value. Also, with time, the battery is going to degrade, so you have to account for that as well. So I would say get a mower that's capable of 2 to 3 times what it's listed on. So as for my selection, first and foremost, my yard is fairly complex, so it's not realistic for me to go around my yard and install wires, so that was out. Secondly, I can get pretty good signal. I don't have crazy amount of trees or tall buildings, so I was very confident that I could get a good GPS signal, so that's why I chose a GPS-based mower. So finally, what I landed on was the Genie 3000. Based on every video that I saw, the Genie 3000 had great navigation, good in terms of mapping and the actual task, which is mowing the yard. And finally, one of the key aspects that makes the Genie 3000 unique, that it has 4 cameras with 300 degrees of vision. Most mowers out there have 1 or 2 cameras, that's about it. So this has much better vision, which I believe contributes not only to much better object detection, but also much better navigation. And that's the key reason that I landed on the Genie 3000. By the way, I do have links down there to all the mowers that I mentioned in this video. Okay, so let's do this. I have everything I need for the RTK station, and let's see how the installation process goes. Like I said, I'm doing this the first time right in front of you guys, so you'll see me try and figure things out on the fly. So first up, let's work with this big pole over here. There you go. Seems fairly easy. So all you gotta do is get it in, and there's a metal slot in there that it just snaps into. So that's it. That was fairly easy. And the wires are in, so it's a fairly clean look. Let me get this out of the way. Okay, next up, let me plug the RTK station head in. Looks fairly straightforward as well. There's just one connector in here, so there's not really any risk of incorrect connections. I guess that was it when it comes to RTK side. Now this other side goes to the charging station. I'm yet to get that out here. That's it. So basically I had to screw this Trident spikes in. That was it. Okay, I'll get my charging station out. Okay, I'll just clean up a bit here. So seems like there's an extension cord right here for the charging station. And I don't think you plug in power to the base station, because the power for the RTK station comes from the charger itself. That's my understanding. Okay, yeah, so this is the power cord, as it just has two plugs in. So let me see how this works. Okay, so there we go. It's just one wire. Let me just... cool. Seems long enough that I won't have to use my own extension cords, which is always a good thing. You know, with all the projection mapping set up, I've got plenty of extension cords going around anyways. Okay, here we go. There's just two connections here. So like I said, it's pretty easy to plug in. Make sure to connect the waterproof section of this connector as well. Okay, that's good. And then I've got this charger cable. It is fairly short, so apparently I need this to be even closer. I'll be honest, I wish that was a bit longer. Okay, let's see how much length I've got. Okay, good thing I didn't fix everything in place yet. See, my initial plan was to have the charging station somewhere here, but have my RTK station, because most people on YouTube complain about signal strength, have it somewhere way away from the house just so it has better signal. But of course I don't want to put my lawnmower all the way away from the house, so which makes it tricky. Now the recommendation is that this thing, it just worked. The recommendation is that the RTK station needs to be about 10 feet away from any other walls of your house. And this is exactly 10 feet, but I would recommend more of a distance. But it's also sort of weird to put this in between the yard, and that way it won't really look nice, and also kill the grass underneath it. So I'm not planning to put this right in the middle of the yard either. That doesn't look right. So I'm gonna give it a shot right here, and let's see if this works out. I'll probably route these wires better and probably have it under my deck so that there's no trip hazard. But for now, we're gonna test out if this position for the RTK base station is good. Let's see, this thing is fairly heavy. Probably like 40 pounds, but I'll put the exact weight down below. I'm told that they should pretty much just power on automatically the moment it's hooked up. Oh, then it goes the other way. Oh, this thing is kind of tricky to pick up because it's sort of like a floating body. It's not completely connected to the base, probably because of all the bump sensors and stuff. Okay, I think the green light is flashing. It's probably not a good thing. Let's see. I'll still wait for the mower to come up and let's see what it does. As you saw, the basic installation was fairly easy. Just took a few minutes, but of course, getting it right is key. But this guy is flashing, so now that's tricky. Okay, we're gonna cut scenes here. Let me try and look for a better spot and give you guys an update. Okay, so this is what happened. So I believe the base station is supposed to be 10 feet away from the house. As you guys saw, I was trying to put it right there. And it is 10 feet from the house, but my house is 2 stories. So there's that additional criteria for 120 degree of viewing angle with the sky. I guess that wasn't fulfilled, so it wasn't connecting. I had to move the antenna. So as you can clearly see, I've kept the robot in the same spot and I moved the antenna to this location right here. And in order to do this, I had to buy an extra cable, which does not come default with the box. So I had to go to their website and buy the cable. As you can see, the cable is routed right here. It's sort of under the grass and ground level, and it comes all the way to the charger. So basically, now I have good signal and the charging station is not in the middle of the yard in some grass. So this is my setup right here. So we're about to map. We're going to use the auto map feature to begin with, and let's see how it goes. My prediction is auto map may not be as successful as it should be, and then I'll have to take over and manually tweak it. Okay, here we go. So the mapping is done, and this did all the mapping by itself. I didn't touch the controls a single time. Auto map was truly auto. Here we go. I'm about to start mowing the yard, I guess. And here the difference is more noticeable. As you can see, the side is mowed and this one it's yet to mow. So it's more noticeable here. And my lawn is pretty shabby. That's why it looks kind of brown, but this might motivate me to get the lawn in good shape as well. So far so good. I'll keep you guys posted. Okay, here's the status update. As you can see, it mowed the yard pretty well. So as you can see, the edging is pretty good too, but of course the robot can't get too close to the edge, so we'll have to manually edge it later. But by the looks of it, looks pretty good. I know there are a lot of brown spots and it's quite sunny, so I should probably not cut this low, but like I said, for doing this from the comfort of my house without moving a muscle, this was job well done. Now for the moment of truth. I believe I did a tremendous job with the backyard. Now the tricky part is, let's find out if we can go all the way to the front yard, get that job done, because now as you'll see, my front yard is not ideal. First and foremost, it has to take this path right here to the gates. Of course, I'll leave the gate open, but in terms of going in between taller structures like these, the 2 houses, it's a GPS nightmare. And most robot lawnmowers tend to get stuck in such situations. Okay, so here's the objective for today. So I'm gonna map this part right here between the houses, which I think would be tricky. The front yard, which has an incline and a tricky shape, and the 2 islands, one here and one right over there. So basically, the plan is to map all these 4 areas, also map the channels as to how the navigator should map between these zones. So the objective would be the robot mower to not only navigate but to move all these zones autonomously. And let's see if I can achieve mapping that. So fingers crossed. So as usual, for starters, I'm just gonna do auto. I have the gate open as it will be when I'm trying to do the complete yard. Let's see if auto works. So far so good. I expect I have to manually intervene in this direction because there's not a wall right up close to the front yard of the neighbor. Now this right here is the biggest advantage of the mower. I could spend time with my kid without having to spend my evening trying to mow the yard. Some of the advantages and disadvantages of my Genie 3000 that I used in this video. Great at navigation. It did not get lost, tend to move exactly where I wanted it to. It was amazing at mapping the house. I didn't have to touch the manual controls a single time. I did it pretty much autonomously. Great cameras, so perfect object detection. So far, I've not seen it running into something that it should not. And good at mowing the yard. It pretty much cut the grass as it should. So basically, it does all the key foundational elements of a robot mower extremely well. So pretty satisfied with the results. Now when it comes to disadvantages, I would say the initial installation was a bit of a hassle, especially the RTK station. It's a little bit picky when it comes to location. And if you want to install it away from your house, the extension cable is not included in the box by default. So I had to buy the extension cable separate, which is sort of an inconvenience. The next disadvantage is something to do with the power adapter. The recommendation is to have the power adapter indoors. Now this becomes challenging because the power plug is outdoor, your robot mower is outdoors, so having just the adapter indoors is sort of an inconvenience. Logistically, it was fairly easy to deal with. I just got a waterproof box on Amazon. It was like 15 bucks. I'll have the link down below. And that way I can just have it outdoors. But yeah, I know when it comes to designing the adapter, it should be designed to have it outdoors. But yeah, those are my two key complaints with this mower so far. I would say they were easy to overcome. Overall, considering the advantages and how it accomplishes the core functionality as expected, I would highly recommend this mower. In case you have any questions regarding any of the mowers that I mentioned, feel free to comment down below. By the way, those who are new to the channel, this right here is projection mapping used for Christmas and Halloween decorations primarily. If you're interested in learning more, you can check out this video.